Hey, this is Michelle, and you're listening to Words with Michelle, the podcast, a show where I sit down and have conversations with influencers on a range of topics, anything from natural hair, employment, discrimination, food, relationships, and everything in between. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. If you want to send me an email, hit me up at michelle@wordsmichelle.com. Thanks for tuning into the latest episode of Words with Michelle, the podcast. You can subscribe and like this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as any other app that you use to listen to your podcast. You can also listen to the podcast on my YouTube channel at Words with Michelle or my website at wordswithmichelle.com. Although I love being a podcaster and writing, there's a huge part of me that loves giving back and helping others. That's one of the reasons why I enjoyed my time being an employment counselor. And of course, I always mention being an employment counselor in many of my shows. I felt happy being able to provide my clients with help or information on their job search journey. I loved seeing the looks on their faces when they either got an interview or a job offer. It always made me feel so good inside. I felt that if I had the means to help someone, why not? One of the organizations that I told my clients about was the Shoebox Project. The Shoebox Project for Women is a charity that supports women experiencing or at risk of homelessness. Their mission is to uplift and empower women through in-kind support, education, and community participation. But before I get into the details of the show, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by my book, Words with Michelle, Inspirational Conversations with Today's Black Canadian Changemakers. Words with Michelle, Inspirational Conversations with Today's Black Canadian Changemakers is a book that was inspired by my blog and podcast. I speak with contemporary Black Canadian changemakers who shared lessons about their success, which I in turn used to pursue my goals. I share how I used their lessons correctly, incorrectly, and not at all, and what the consequences were. It will be available at Word on the Street in Toronto on September 28th and 29th. Hope to see you there. It is also available on Amazon. Now back to the show. I wanted to continue spotlighting organizations that provides empowerment, so I contacted the Shoebox Project, and Rosie Smythe, the executive director, responded and said that she would be delighted to be on the show. She spoke about the organization, its focus, and mission. Before we spoke with the charity, I asked Rosie to tell us a bit about herself. So please welcome Rosie to the show. Thanks for being on the show, Rosie.
I could tell you a little bit about myself. I have more than 30 years of experience in the mental health and addiction field. That's basically my background. I've worked in housing. I've worked with women in mental health and addiction agencies in Regent Park. I've done a lot of different things. But some years ago, I was the executive director of a women's mental health and addiction program in Regent Park. And we were fortunate enough to be the recipient agency of the lovely packages that the Shoebox offers. And we'll go into that more. It really turned out to be, and these boxes contain sweet messages of hope from the people that donate. So that's all part of, what made it so sweet was not only the nice little gift that they were being given, but also the message. And I could see that this beautiful gesture meant a lot to these ladies because these packages were often the only holiday gifts they would receive, maybe the only gift ever. Some of them had never received gifts before. And then I want to move forward several years later when I was the executive director of another agency supporting newcomer families and immigrants. A lot of big majority of our people were women. And we were lucky enough to get these packages from the Shoebox Project there as well. And they were also amazing. And a lot of the newcomers to Canada, they were going through shock, culture shock, so many different, some of it was traumatic for them. A lot of them present it with a lot of issues I'm sure they never thought they were going to encounter in their immigration um, process. But anyway, and also too, the loss of status in life is really hard for people as new immigrants.
Mm.
And so when they would receive these boxes, to them, it was really needed encouragement. It was signs of kindness and hope from people. And they loved the shoe boxes. So now here I am. I'm the new ED here at the Shoebox Project. I love the agency and the whole concept of supporting women on their journey of hope. So here I am.
That was beautiful. Wow. Actually, just hearing those words, you really brought me back to being an employment counselor. You actually, and that's what I like to be. I mean, I kind of straddle both worlds. To be quite honest, I love being a podcaster and a writer, but being an employment counselor was, I loved it because I loved helping the clients. I loved helping the people. And when you said the thing about some of the clients or some of the recipients felt like a loss of status. It just reminded me of the conversations that I had with my clients who were looking for work. It just reminded me of what they left. And when they came to Canada, it was such a big transition. It was just their life was
Hmm.
an upheaval.
Yes,
So you made me
yes.
really think about having the conversations with my with the clients because it stays with you. Because I remember, I won't go on too much about it. So I just remember one particular family, and they left Kenya, and the husband was a doctor and the wife was a lawyer, and they came here and they could not get employment. They could
Yeah,
not. They
typical
were,
story.
yeah, they were like I think then he got to an age he said, I'm not going to look for employment because it's not going to happen. So they just end up, their son was like a 20-year-old or something, and he ended up getting a job just because they could not find employment within their field.
Oh
So you
dear.
just brought me back to that exact conversation. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah, that's kind of rough. But so there's a need for the shoebox. So just
Yeah.
I guess you touched upon it, but if you just want to tell us a bit more about the mission, the vision, everything about the
Okay. So the Shoebox Project basically it provides women with packages at various times in the year. It could be Mother's Day, International Women's Day, different holidays. We're really working on expanding that. So what we do is we provide packages. They're in a shoebox, they're gift wrapped, and they have a lovely message of hope and kindness inside. We have many chapters. This is across Canada. And so we run programs in, many large cities across Canada and some small areas too. The headquarters obviously are in Toronto.
Mhm.
It was started, the history is it was started about 11 years ago by four sisters-in-laws, and they wanted to give back to their community. And then boom, it just grew and grew and grew. And like I told you earlier, I was the executive director at other agencies, and we saw them grow and saw these packages go from really, simple items to much more interesting items that and sweet things that these women would never be able to afford. And just a nice cream, your basic toothbrush and toothpaste and shampoo, conditioner, things that we all need. Um, but really it's evolved into I think women are women whether women are experiencing income insecurity, possibly homelessness or precarious housing, we still have needs for just beyond a toothbrush and a toothpaste.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's what we try to make these really, really sweet. I do want to add that we are aware that identities are diverse and intersecting. We've learned that. So we try to keep that in mind when preparing these packages. So we do have gender neutral packages, things like that.
Oh,
So
okay.
we try to give gift cards as well so that women can buy products that are more about their individuality. Everyone's got different hair, so always including um, products that are meant for dyed hair or whatever different hair from different cultures. You've got that gift certificate you can go and buy yourself, that specific need. So really try to stay on top of that. and be respectful of that, because that's the whole thing. What we're trying to do is show respect for these ladies and love and kindness that it's out there for them. And yeah. So, but and if you have any questions, feel free to cut me off. But
Oh, sure.
I just wanted to move on because when I started, I was talking to staff, talking to the board, talking to different people, and we decided that we wanted to develop a workshop series. We wanted to do more. We wanted to do something that would help women find a new path to a more fulfilling life. And so we thought, okay, let's put together this series of workshops. Um, and we wanted to be part of the woman's journey of hope, but expand that a little bit with the supportive lifestyle changes they might want to consider. And we wanted to promote health and wellness. So I'll just give you a quick little quote, nothing boring, but according to a report put out by the Mental Health Research Canada
Mhm.
in 2023, quote, women, particularly those from equity deserving groups, are struggling more with their mental health and are less likely to receive the care they need. So we thought we would put together this series so women can also learn to access services on their own. So, for example, our first speaker in the series, it's starting in September and running through to April 2025.
Okay.
That Our first speaker is Find Help 211. It's a fantastic service, and they can help women to learn how to be their own navigator. We want to empower women with knowledge, and so we want them to be their own navigator and navigator of supports by showing them how to find all the available community programs and services available. We're also looking at another service provider similar to that, that's very focused on mental health and addictions, and so that women can find out all of the services, what all they need. And they can go on you can go online, you can call, you can email them, and if we'll certainly be showing women a lot more about what that means. But you can find out all of the services by just dialing 211 or going on the website. Anyway, so they're going to be our first speaker. And then we've got another empowering speaker the following month. He's going to really focus on women's self-esteem. Another woman's going to focus on grief. We're going to talk about newcomer woman success story. We're going to touch on gender-based violence. I myself, I'm going to provide a breathing and mindfulness workshop. That's kind of my background besides mental health and addiction. We've got lots of different really interesting programs. It's a pilot project, and we're really
Okay.
hoping to have this, make sure that this, we can tweak it as we're going. And we want to help women address their own needs to improve their skills and personal wellness. And we want to show them how to be their own advocate to move forward and improve their life. Um, so I guess our aim with this is we want to inspire women to create a new direction and purpose. We can see that there's so many women out there that really just need those extra supports from their community to make those changes in their lives, and so they can become more active. And I really believe women can be more active in their communities. And the more active you are in your community, I believe, then you can have a more fulfilling life. And that's what we want. We want women to enjoy their life to the fullest.
You said that there's a
Sure.
lot of there are I guess this program is for women that are not getting help. Why aren't they
Mhm.
getting help though? Is there a reason why
Well,
women are not
you
getting
know,
help?
it's just, I'm just going to talk off the top of my head. And from my experience,
Hmm.
there's a lot of women out there. And this is what I found when I was the executive director, especially when I worked in Regent Park. A lot of
Hmm.
the women said, "Oh, I didn't know that was for me. I thought those programs were for somebody else." I mean, I started developing new programs we were offering really, we tried to make it a really nice environment because these women had really difficult lives. So we'd offer sweet things like art programs and mindfulness, breathing, all kinds of different things that they normally wouldn't do. And sometimes they wouldn't come. And then I would see them and I'd say, hey, come to our program. And say, oh, I didn't think that was for me. I thought that was for the other women, maybe the higher functioning women. No,
Oh,
no, no. This is for you. And so also a lot of people aren't joiners. They didn't grow up. I grew up in a family where my parents really encouraged us to get out there and join community services. And I mean, I went to the local community programs and went to camp with them. I was a Girl Guide. Well, this is way back in the day, but you, a lot of people aren't brought up like that. They don't know to get out there and get those services and how important it is to be part of your community, not isolate yourself, not be lonely. And there's a lot of people that they just don't even are totally unaware of all the amazing programs and services that we have here in Toronto. And you really have to reach out and kind of pull people in, say, come on. And, over the years, I found we have great programs and services, but sometimes our recruiting was a little bit tricky. And it was just, again, a lot of people just weren't aware and they needed that push or push. But, that encouragement, come on, come join us. Part of this.
do you think
And
any
so
of
it,
that
it,
has to do with, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but do
it's
you think
okay.
anything has to do with cultural
Oh, definitely.
yeah, I can see that. Being
Definitely.
someone from the Caribbean community,
Yeah.
I could definitely see that that could be
Yeah.
an issue. Like not want it's not that you don't want to do it, but it's just something so a little foreign. And it's I think
Yes.
newer generations will be like, or younger, I should say, are more open to it. But I think if you're a person of a certain age or a certain age group, you may think, okay, I don't need this or don't want it, or what is it? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that could be a reason why it's not utilized or people are not accessing it because I just think that, okay, that's not something that I know about or understand.
Uh-huh.
Um,
The only thing is, I will add that I did see when I worked with newcomers and immigrant families, which was just a couple of years ago,
mhm,
they were like game for anything. Like, what should I do? Should I volunteer? Should I, but a lot of that was also tied to getting a job.
mm,
So, but services out there, let me know what they are. I'm going to go to it. So that's what I found. They were pretty eager, even though maybe the huge cultural differences for sure. But
mm,
once that we were able to reach them and say, hey, there's all these programs out there, like university bridging programs, there's all
mm,
kinds of employment programs. There's so many social service agencies that will address, all of the trauma that you're experiencing. And yeah, once they figured that out, they were like gung ho. So that's what we hope to do here. So what we're reaching out to, we've actually got a database of about 500 agencies that we're reaching out to and asking them to post. We have a poster, and it's a sort of save the date poster, and
mhm.
then prior to each talk, maybe a few weeks beforehand, we'll send out a very specific um, poster that will show exactly who the person is, their bio, what the workshop's about.
Okay.
And we're really right now just trying to promote out in the community our existence and hoping people will learn more and more about us.
So anyone just kind of tuning in halfway mark, I just wanted to ask, just I know you may have mentioned before, but just tell them again.
But
Mm,
generally, our programs, the shoebox packages, are meant for women in the shelter system and other programs because we've also had, like I mentioned, I worked in a program that worked with families, immigrant families, and we were recipients there. Of course, we gave it to those that identified as women, and so it's we're open to that, but it really started out with homelessness and um, really geared towards the shelter system. And that's where I was introduced to it in the very beginning. It was I worked in a drop-in mental health and addiction program in Region Park. And a lot of the ladies that came there were people that experienced terrible trauma, a lot of residential school survivors.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So to get these packages was really, really nice for them. They loved them. And if anybody, I don't know if the shoebox came and talked to them, but I really at that time they did. They may have reached out, and all these ladies would have said what a fantastic thing it was for them to receive these packages. But like I said, it evolved. So they were very basic back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
but nowadays they're really lovely stuff. And it's just that for me, I really love it too because it really shows how there's so many people out there that care. And especially at times like we're in now, um, there are still so many lovely people out there that want to reach out and want to help. We have no trouble finding that.
Okay, great. That's what I wanted to ask. How can we help out? Because I'm listening to this. I
Okay.
want to. How can we
Okay.
help?
So let me think. Well, first of all, there's three ways. I'm sure there's many, many ways, but off the top of my head, my three ways are we need financial support. We have headquarters here in Toronto. We support 45 chapters across Canada. We're building and building on that. So we need the funds to keep the doors open and to keep, we want to have collective impact so that we can ensure the sustainability of the organization and the mission. These are hard times with all charities and nonprofit groups. So if you can help us financially, that's really fantastic. We also often need new volunteers. And like I said, we've got chapters across the country where the right now it's a bit quiet because they're waiting for the holiday campaign to start
Mhm.
up. Then we're going to be really busy. We're going to need lots of volunteers all across Canada. So if anybody's listening, we need volunteers. So corporations, we have a lot of corporations that contact us. They want to do team building exercises with their staff, and their staff want to do things that are meaningful, something to give back. So they will actually have a team building day, put together some shoe boxes, and we have these lovely shoe boxes for the shelters. So some of it's complicated, so I really would prefer to suggest that all this information is available on the website,
Okay.
shoeboxproject.com. If anyone out there, any of your listeners is interested, please go on the website, shoeboxproject.com. Or if you want to contact me, my email's kind of long. So just contact me at info @shoeboxproject.com and I'll personally respond or the website Shoebox Project.
If say we want, can we make our own shoe boxes? Can we do that? And or is it that we have to provide the stuff that goes inside the box and donate it to you? How would
Well,
that?
we have well, we try to do we do that's why it's really important to go on the website
Oh,
because
okay.
we explain exactly what
Okay.
is needed so that people are not sort of putting in random items. There are
Okay.
some restrictions with certain things, sharp objects and things like that that we don't want in the boxes. We really like to be able to look at the box. So
Okay.
we also do things like even when you're wrapping, that you just wrap the lower part of the box and then wrap the lid so that we can actually have a peek inside.
Mm,
And just so that we can be sure, safety reasons, that we can have a look inside and
true.
that that it is with our mission and who we are. It's really hard for us to just randomly have
True.
random people go out, put together the box, deliver them to the shelter in our name.
Mm,
Mm, and not the best practice.
that's
So we
true.
really,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So
You
we
want
really do try to have people. That's why if you go on our website, it's all explained on there.
to, okay.
And but we appreciate anything that anybody can do to help us with our mission.
I asked Rosie what future plans she has for the Shoebox Project.
If this works, that's why we're calling it a pilot project with the new workshop series. Because,
Mm,
like I said, we want to do more with women in their journey to good health and a better life. And just if, especially if they're interested in doing that, we want to be part of that, so that they can live their life to the fullest. So yeah, that's why we thought about the workshops. We thought, okay, this could be really helpful to women too, because, knowledge is power. And that's what we want to do is we want to empower women. And that's also why I want people to be their own navigators. You could be in charge of your own life or work in partnership with your case manager. The more power you have in how the direction your life is going in, the better. So that's why, I want to get them to really learn more about find help 211, uh, talk, be part of these groups where they can meet other people. Even it's on Zoom, it's going to be online, but I mean, myself, I was on a online course and I made great connections, and it's still a little community when you're taking these programs. So and we really want to foster that where women can get connected with one another, and create community. So what I'd like to do, once we have a look at this pilot project, I want to assess it, see it. Is this something we really think we're having an impact? Because that's what we want to do. We want to have an impact. If so, I'd really like to bring it across Canada and open it up more to all of our other chapters. Right now, this is going to be mostly geared towards the GTA, maybe Durham, maybe Hamilton, but it's really, I'd like to be able to do it where we can offer it in different time zones too, so that maybe we can have the workshops taped and viewed later. Um, yeah, we have to we have to do more. And so this is the beginning. Like I said, I just started 3 months ago. I'm brand new to the agency. So I'm hoping to be able to bring the background and knowledge that I have with mental health and addictions and really help women in various ways.
Nice. It sounds like you're doing a great job. I mean, it's very inspiring, and not only just inspiring. I'm like it's good to help people. I think we have to do that. If we are
Most
able to
definitely.
help people in any way that we can, then you just have to do that. So I
Yeah,
love
we have to.
that. Great. If we want to get in contact with you, I know that you mentioned your email before, but if someone want to get a hold of the organization or get some more information, how can they contact you?
So contact me at info@shoeboxproject.com. So I'll get the message right away and get back to people. And also go on our website. Please go on the website because it's much more clear about exactly how this all operates. And that's shoeboxproject.com.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for sharing that information with us, and we do appreciate that. So thank you again.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and your listeners about the Shoebox Project. It's a great thing. Thanks again.
You're welcome. Thanks again for listening to the latest episode of Words with Michelle, the podcast. Just a reminder, you can subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also listen to the show on my blog at wordswithmichelle.com. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to provide a comment or feedback, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can email me at michelle@wordswithmichelle.com. You can also email me if you're interested in sponsoring an episode. Thanks again for listening to the show, and until next time, bye.